Somewhere in Clearwater, Florida, there's a mini golf course called Congo River. Fake waterfalls, a giant fiberglass gorilla, the whole tourist trap aesthetic. Birthday parties happen there every weekend. One of those birthdays happened in February 2025. The birthday girl was 37. Her boyfriend took her to dinner first. Popeyes. Because nothing says romance like a two-piece combo. And then mini golf. Because nothing says closure like putt-putt. Here's the detail that turns this from a nice date night into something out of a horror script. Earlier that same day, according to investigators, this couple had finished dismembering a 16-year-old girl and stuffing her into the trunk of their car. They played 18 holes with her body parts in the parking lot. And I need you to sit with that image for a second, because it tells you everything about who we're dealing with before we even get to her name. Her name was Miranda, and she deserves better than being a footnote in someone else's birthday story. I'm Sopons J. Welcome to Placibic Thoughts. Alright, welcome back to another episode of Placibic Thoughts. It is I, your host, Sopons J. I hope everybody's doing good out there. I hope life's going alright for everyone. Back at it with another video, just trying to keep popping them out for you guys. I missed making videos, and I hope you guys are liking the new format. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you listen to Lil J when he pops in and out throughout the video.
Hit the Y button, hit the Y.
Telling you to hit that subscribe button. This one's about Steve Gress and his girlfriend Michelle Brandeis, or Brandeis, something like that. But either way, they are charged with dismembering a 16-year-old girl who came to their house for some type of date or something like that. Well, we'll hash out the details and we'll see what they have going on. And when the chicken's out the coop, the fox will get loose, won't he? Follow me into the mind of a madman and a mad woman, and let's see, what the were they thinking? Let's rewind for a minute. It's February 14th, 2025. Valentine's Day, if you want the universe to twist the knife a little harder. Miranda Corsette is 16 years old. She's living in Gulfport, Florida. And like a lot of 16-year-olds, more than many of us would like to admit, she's on an app she shouldn't be. This one's called Grindr. It's marketed to adults, specifically the LGBTQ+ adult community. There is no version of 16-year-old that belongs in that space. And that's not a moral judgment, that's just math that the app's own gatekeepers are supposed to do and didn't. On the other end, Steven Gress, 35 years old. And here's a fun fact about Steven that should have been a 5-alarm fire before he ever met Miranda. His own mother later told police he had a history of killing animals. Surprise, surprise. Write that down. It's gonna matter later, and not in a subtle way either. So Gress meets Miranda through the app. They talk, she goes to his place. A duplex he shares with his girlfriend, Michelle Brands, 37. Meets him once, goes home. Then she goes back the next day. Now here's where the story turns from bad decision to nightmare. And the trigger is almost insultingly small. A ring goes missing. That's it. And knowing these jokers, it probably wasn't even a good ring. I mean, I couldn't imagine this bum who takes his girl to Popeyes for her birthday would have a nice ring just laying around the house, right? So Brandeis, I'm gonna call her Brands, the girlfriend, she apparently decides that Miranda took it. And whether that's true, whether it's jealousy, dressed up as an accusation, whether Brands just didn't want a 16-year-old in her house and needed an excuse, we don't fully know. What we do know is what happened next, because Gress told police himself. He confessed on March 7th. He sat down with detectives, and the first thing out of his mouth, according to the warrant, was, "This was never supposed to happen." Of course, right? Which is a hell of a sentence to lead with when what happened was 7 days of torture. 7 days. Not 7 minutes of panic. 7 days. Now here's where it goes from a couple with maybe an anger problem, a little bit of jealousy issue, to two psychotic monsters doing the devil's work. Now between February 20th and 24th, Gress and Brands held Miranda in that home, and according to the affidavit, beat her repeatedly, searching for a ring that again may not have even been stolen. Gress told police he bought her sore throat medicine to help her heal, and then hurt her again once she had. Let's think about that for a second. He nursed her partway back to health, specifically so there'd be more to break, so that he could hurt her again. That's sadistic. That's not an accident of cruelty. That's a system. That's someone running a process. She died from suffocation. The method? A billiard ball. Pool ball. Forced into her mouth, her face wrapped in plastic. And here's the detail that should end any argument about whether these two people understood what they were doing. At least 6 other people knew, in some form, that a teenage girl was being held and hurt in that house. Gress sent photos of her injuries to 2 men and to his own mother. His mother's response when she realized what her son had done? Quote, "Good people don't want to know bad things." And then she hung up the phone. Can you believe that? I mean, maybe I'm just crazy, or maybe I'm delusional, but I would like to think that no matter how much I love my boys, that if they were to call me and tell me that they were doing these atrocious acts, that I would step in and do the right thing, regardless that they are my offspring. But I don't know. I've never been in that situation. And I do know that in life, you can't really say what you would do until you've been there and walked in those shoes. Tell me what you guys would do in the comments, if you have kids or if you can put yourself in that state. What do you think you would do? I want you to remember that line, because it's going to come back around. So by the time Miranda died, it's going to make you furious. Days of torture. Gress and Brands didn't panic. They executed. He drove her body to a second property in Largo, owned by Brands' mother. That's where he dismembered her. Then, like a couple with absolutely nothing weighing on their minds or their car's suspension, remains in the trunk, they went and celebrated Brands' birthday. Popeyes, then mini golf. Then they drove to Ruskin. After a night of golf, 5-star gourmet meal at Popeyes, he probably let her get a apple pie even. I don't know if they got milkshakes at Popeyes, maybe a milkshake, maybe the one-piece meal when it was out, you know? So after this gourmet meal, after being wined and dined with a body in the trunk, they drive to Ruskin and put what's left of Miranda, unfortunately, into a dumpster. That dumpster got picked up on its normal schedule, hauled to the Falkenberg Transfer Center, and incinerated before anyone knew to look for it. She never got a proper burial. These people are trash, ain't they? But dang, man, I tell you, man, having kids in this world, man, I tell them all the time, the real monsters are humans. The real monsters in this world have a pulse, and that's for sure. And when good people fail to act, this is what happens. Not good people don't want to hear bad things. But when good people do hear bad things and do nothing, they're no longer good people. There is no body. There will never be a body. Whatever the jury decides, they'll decide it on confessions, texts, photographs, and witness accounts, not forensic remains. That's the legal mountain prosecutors are climbing here. And it's steep. But if you ask me, with the amount of people that knew what was happening and all the other evidence, I know that they say no body, no case, but I feel like there's enough evidence where they should have an easy conviction. So who let this happen? Miranda was reported missing on February 24th. A tip came in on March 7th. Gress was already sitting in jail by then. Not for Miranda, but because on March 5th, he had pointed a harpoon gun at Brands during a domestic dispute and gotten popped for drug possession on top of it. Let that sink in for a minute. So, the dude's such a F up. You know, the system had him in custody before anyone even connected him to the missing girl. And that wasn't a one-off. Police logs show 7 separate calls to that address since the start of the year. And we're talking, this was in February or March. So 3 months into the year, 7 separate calls. Disturbances, domestic battery, welfare checks. 7 chances for someone to look closer. 7 times the system walked away. Miranda's family isn't just going after Gress and Brands. They filed a lawsuit against Grindr itself. 9 counts, including wrongful death and even a sex trafficking allegation, arguing the app's age verification failed a child before anyone else did. Right now, both Gress and Brands have pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder and kidnapping. Prosecutors have said they may seek the death penalty for both of them. So let's go back to Steven Gress's mother and that phone call. Good people don't want to know bad things. That's not wisdom. That's a woman choosing silence and calling it virtue. And if this case tells you anything, it's that silence had company. 6 people knew something. 7 police calls went nowhere. An app built for adults lets a child slip through gates that were supposed to stop her. Miranda Corsette was 16 years old. She should be finishing her sophomore year of college right now. Not a case file. Steven Gress had since told a judge that he wants to plead guilty and take the death penalty. You know, I've got mixed feelings on the death penalty. I feel like, you know, as being someone who's been to prison themselves, I know that the true torture is staying in there for life, but then the taxpayers have to pay for it. You know, so it's kind of like it's hard to, it made me think of my kid 6, 7. Well, that's the end of this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think. What can I do better? I know there's a lot to work on. If you've seen my old videos, I feel like my editing has come along a little bit. And that's the story. Now go make sure that y'all's has a good ending. Remember, case is closed, but kindness doesn't. Take care of yourselves. Till we meet again.